Hello, I'm Philip Brunelle, Artistic Director and founder of Vocal Lessons and the organist choirmaster at Plymouth Congregational Church in Minneapolis. Each day, I'm focusing music on a composer that's had a relationship with both organizations. And today, it's an amazing, fascinating woman named Dame Ethel Smythe. Dame Ethel was born in 1858, died in 1944. So I didn't know Dame Ethel, but those of you who know me know I'm always curious about composers and ones I don't know. And it was many, many years ago that I was in London, went to Novello's, the publishing company, and they carried music of hers, I was told, and I found a man who was just nuts about Dame Ethel Smythe, and he showed me what they had, and that got me started looking at her music. Dame Ethel studied, she was British, but she studied in Leipzig. She had several composers who were her teachers, most famously a man named Herzogenberg, who wrote a number of beautiful choral pieces that I've done. And through him, she met people like Dvorak, Grieg, Tchaikovsky, Schumann, Brahms. I mean, it must have been an amazing experience to meet all these people. She came back to London. Now, don't forget, we're talking about late 1800s, 1870s, 1890s, and she was composing. But in that era, a woman as a composer, especially a woman as strong-willed as Ethel Smythe, did not achieve the kind of recognition that she should have had. The newspaper critics said of her, her music was too masculine for a woman composer, and also said that her music lacked feminine charms. Nonetheless, she pursued what she was thinking needed to happen, and she wrote a Mass in D, a glorious piece which Vocal Lessons has performed, and some movements have been done at Plymouth Church, and we recorded it for Virgin Classics. It's a terrific piece. When you listen to this music, if you didn't know it was Dame Ethel, I'm sure you'd think, oh, I don't know Brahms having written a piece like that. Well, he didn't, but it certainly has that same era of Brahms in her style of harmony. Here is the Sanctus from her Mass in D. And just imagine at the beginning, solo alto, and then trombones come in. Dame Ethel was also a member of the women's suffrage movement in England, and in 1911 she wrote a March of the Women, which you're going to hear in just a moment. I read this about her personal life that I wanted to share. It said, Smythe had several passionate affairs in her life, most of them with women. Her philosopher friend and the librettist of some of her operas, Henry Brewster, may have been her only male lover. She wrote to him in 1892 saying, why is it that I'm preferring women? I can't make it out. But then at age 71, she fell in love with Virginia Woolf, the writer. And they were both alarmed and amused, and I love this that Virginia Woolf said about her. Being with Ethel Smythe is like being caught by a giant crab. Well, if you see a photo of Dame Ethel, she was a large woman, and she definitely had a mind of her own. She did have one opera, the only time until recent days that a woman has had an opera performed at the Metropolitan Opera. And that was her opera, The Wreckers, that was composed early in the last century. But here is the March of the Women. And the story that I love with it is that Sir Thomas Beecham, she was imprisoned in Holloway Prison for a time. And while she was there, many of the women gathered in the courtyard. And Sir Thomas observed this, that out of an upper window, Dame Ethel Smythe appeared, and she wanted them all to sing, and she conducted them with a toothbrush. Have a great day.